Hello, everyone. We are joined by Phil Konecki from JFS Dallas, and he will talk with us today about recommendations. Very important subject indeed. And I'm Idan Frumin. I'll be replacing Irit for today, and the stage is now for Phil.
Well, thank you, Eden. Good afternoon, everybody. As Dan said, my name is Phil Konecki. I'm a career services manager here at Jewish Family Service in Dallas. And I was asked to talk today about recommendations. And recommendations come in two different types: the recommendations you give and the recommendations you can ask for. I want to talk a little bit about recommendations. What should they look like? What should they not look like? And how can you get a recommendation that's going to be helpful to you to move forward? And how can you give a recommendation to help others? Okay. So to begin with, recommendations. Who cares? Do we really need them? Do we want them? Well, a lot of times people consider this in the employment arena, but think about it just in real life. Let's say for the sake of discussion, you want to paint your house and you know somebody painted their house. You might ask the question, did you like your painter? Did they do what you wanted? How long did they take? We're looking for somebody to provide validation. Okay. In the employment arena, we can have people create resumes to speak to who they are. And I will tell you, since I'm in the career coaching business and have been for about the past 12 years, I can say that without a doubt, I have not seen a resume that does not say the person is great. Nobody has a resume that says I can't do the job. All resumes look good. And so the employer is going to try and find that recommendation. They want to find that personal vouching for that person. And by asking an applicant to provide references for recommendations, that's the step they're taking. And so if you are going to apply for a position and you want to have your references work with you, it's very important that you talk to your references about a couple of things. Number one, what is the job that you're going for? What is the employer looking to do? What does the employer considering you to do to help that employer out? Talking to your references about what the job is and talking to the references about how you have done that particular job for others in the past and some things that you would like them to bring forward about you. Make sure that what they're bringing forward and sharing with that employer is going to be something unique. Okay.
Yeah, non-generic.
We don't want to be generic on the references. We don't want to have the references just simply be, well, Phil's a good guy. He works hard. Everybody does. Okay. So on the references, make sure that it's going to speak to the task at hand and make sure it's going to provide the employer a little bit of insight about the person who's actually doing the applying for the job. Okay. The other type of recommendation is the recommendation you are considering to give somebody. And we want to really do the same thing. We want to consider that person. And why do we want to recommend that person for anything at all? We want to speak to what that person has done that we have seen, that what that person has done that's affected us. And we typically want to do that because we want to share that experience with people that we know and trust. We want to recommend them to others so that they can get the same level of service that we were fortunate enough to receive from that particular person.
What do you do when you have an issue with a former boss, for instance, that is crucial for your next role, but it wouldn't be the best or the most beneficial recommendation?
If there is a issue in a person's past with an employer where the employer and the employee did not have a good relationship, one of the things I may want to try and do is have a coworker provide a reference, have somebody else who might be somebody we knew provide a reference. And if the requirement is that that employer needs a reference from the supervisor, I would want to let that employer know during the interview process that there was an issue with the employer or the former supervisor. What we don't want to have happen is we don't want it to be a surprise.
Right.
Not everybody has had a perfect relationship with everybody. And there may be times that the relationship wasn't a good one. So, but if we talk about that during the interview, generally that's when we can share about our references, talk about that issue in the interview, again, we don't want to put anybody down. We don't want to say anything negative about folks, but we may want to identify the fact that there may be a personal issue between that particular person and you. And would that employer still want that reference, or would they look for a reference from somebody else?
Right. When giving a recommendation, is there a situation where giving a certain kind of recommendation could backfire towards you?
I think the recommendation that could backfire, well, obviously, if it's not honest.
Right.
But I think the other thing that we tend to do when somebody asks us to give a recommendation, we really want to help. We want to give that person a good recommendation, but we also need to recognize that what we have to recommend, or what we should recommend, are the things we have directly observed or who have direct knowledge of. I am very tempted to say this person can do this and all that, but I want to make sure that what I speak to are the things that I have known for myself or I've seen for myself. I generally don't want to rely on the words of others, because then I'm taking them at their word and it's not my recommendation. I'm simply repeating what somebody else is saying. So I think if we keep it direct to the things that we've seen or know, that is going to reduce the possibility of anything backfiring on us.
Okay. Sounds awesome.
Yep. Yep.
What do you think about LinkedIn recommendations? Just asking people, not for a specific job interview, but just to buff up your profile, maybe.
I have recommendations from clients on my profile, and a lot of times we may feel shy about asking for a recommendation. I don't want to be pushy and ask for a recommendation. But when I talk to my clients and they are successful, I ask them if they felt that experience has helped them out, that if they were able to share what they liked about it, that it might help others who might not be, or might be hesitant about reaching out for help. Others may see that it's helped that particular person, whether it's coaching, whether it's whatever the job is. If somebody gets a chance to see, wow, this particular service helps somebody out, it may help them take that step to reach out for assistance themselves. So I look at the recommendations, not so much for me to say, wow, look how great I am, but I want the recommendations to show other folks that it's okay to reach out to that particular person because they have been helpful.
Sounds great. We try to maintain about 10 minutes, but this is incredible advice in my mind. I thank you so much for the time and awesome recommendations, basically.
Of course.
About recommendations. Thank you, and I hope everyone found this as helpful as I think it is. Thanks again. Have a good day. Bye-bye.